Okay, now today we are going to look at Nanhua Primary School, CA1 2018, which is a Primary 6 school paper. So paper 1, we are unable to use calculator, so we have to work out manually. Alright, so how to do well for paper 1? You have to know your basics and your concepts. So as we run through the paper, we are going to revise. Okay, revise what you have learned. Alright, all the concepts and all the basics that you have learned about the topics. And hopefully you have done the paper 1 before you watch the video, and then you can check your answers while you're watching. And if your answer is wrong, then you can follow the video to see what went wrong. Okay, so let's look at question 1, right? And let's put down the answer for question 1 first. And now the answer for question 1 is 2. So if you have gotten it correct, you can actually move on to the next question. So you don't have to watch this part of the video. But of course, if you want to revise, then continue to watch. Alright, so question 1, the answer is 2. And how do you get 2? Now, there were 416,820 visitors to a tourist attraction last year. Express the number to the nearest 10,000. Now, nearest 10,000, you can see that there are 4 zeros. So what do? You look at the last 4 digits, right? So you have look at the last 4 digits, and then what I would like to do is I will usually draw a line, right, to show the last 4 digits. And then the 6, alright, the 6 that is the nearest to the line. Is it 5 and bigger? Yes. So if it's 5 and bigger, I will add 1 on the next digit. So I will get 420. Alright, so my nearest 10,000 will be 420 thousands. Alright, so 420,000. So answer number 2. So that's how you round off to the nearest 10,000. You look at how many zeros, and then that will be how many digits. And once you know how many digits, you just draw a line, alright, to cut off, alright, to show the digits, right, the number of digits. Okay, now let's go to number 2. What does the digit 2 stands for? So question 2, your answer is 3. Alright, how to get 3? Well, if you look at the digit 2, you can see that it stands for 20,000. And so if you look at number 3, that is 20,000 already. So answer number 3. Okay, let's go to question number 3. And your answer is number 4. Alright, so question 3, the answer is 4. And which of the following has the same value as 4 over 5 divided by 3? So there's a divide there. So you're tested on how to divide fractions with whole number. So you change the whole number into a fraction, and then what your teacher will have told you is keep the first fraction, change the divide to times, and flip the fraction upside down. So you have keep, change, and flip. Alright, so one more time, let's run through this again. So how do you divide fractions? You keep the first fraction, which is 4/5, and you change the divide to times, and then you flip the second fraction upside down. Alright, and then after that, you multiply the numerators, 4 times 1 and 5 times 3. Alright, and you look at the answers. There's no answer there. So you have to work out one by one. Alright, so 4 over 5 of 3, it means that 4 over 5 times 3 of is times. And every whole number that you see, you can change it into a fraction. So you have 4 times 3, that will be 12 over 5, which is not the value. Then what is 3 times of 5 over 4? That will be 3 times 5 over 4. So change the whole number into a fraction, and you get 15 over 4. Alright, so you multiply the numerators, and then multiply the denominators, which is not the value. What is 4 times of 5 over 3? So you change the whole number into a fraction. So 4 times 5 is 20, and then 1 times 3 is 3. So not the value. Alright, next one, 1/3 of 4/5. So 1/3 times 4/5. So 1 times 4, and then 3 times 5. And that's the value. So answer number 4. Okay, let's go to the next one. Alright, now question 4, your answer is number 4. Alright, so how do you get number 4? So A is 3 times of B. So I can use ratio to represent the statement. So A is to B. So A is 3 is to 1. And then B is 3 times of C. So B is to C. 3 is to 1. Alright, now, can you see the same letter? Right, there's a letter that's repeated, but the numbers are different. So you have to make the number the same. So you times 3, and over here you also times 3. And that's how you get 9 is to 3. Now, once you make the number the same, then of course you can call them all the same units. So you can call it 9 units, 3 units, 3 unit, 3 unit, and 1 unit. Alright, so once you make the number equal, they all belong to the same family. All right, you call them all units. So what is the ratio of A, which is 9, is to 3 is to 1, right? A is to B is to C. So answer number 4. All right, so question number 5, and your answer is number 4. All right, so 20% of a group of children are boys. So given that there are 40 boys, how many children are there? So this tests you on your basic understanding on percentage. So when you have percentage problem, there's a special number which is 100%. 100% is the total, everybody, all right, all the children. And 20% are boys. So if 20% are boys, and there are also 40 boys, then you connect. All right, 20% is 40. All right, so can you find how many children are there altogether? So shortcut, you don't have to find 1% is 2. You can just do your shortcut, 20 times 5, and then over here you times 5, so that you can cut down the time taken to do your paper 1. So 40 times 5 is 200. So there are 200 children. All right, next one, question number 6. Jack is 5'6" as heavy as Jill, and the answer is number 4. All right, when you see fractions, you do arrow pointing. All right, for 2 reasons: to draw model, or to fill in the table. Right, the table method where you need to fill in the boxes. So you can draw a model, or you can draw arrow pointing. All right, also for another reason is to write out the ratio. So there are 3 reasons for doing arrow pointing. So we are going to write as ratio. So Jack is to Jill. And because the question says what's the ratio of Jill's mass to their total mass, so your ratio will have total as well. So Jack is 5 unit, Jill is 6 unit, and the total is 11 units. So what's the ratio of Jill to their total? 6 is to 11, and your answer is number 4. Okay, so let's go on to the next one. Okay, number 7. Okay, number 7 is your estimation. Answer number 2. Okay, now the picture shows a max activity book not drawn to scale. What is the best estimate for the actual length and breadth? Now you can see the length is usually the longer side, but not in this question. Now in this question, the length is actually the shorter side. So that is the trick, right? All of us, we will understand that the length is the longer side. But over here is different. So if you look at the number 1, how long is 12 cm? It's actually the length of a very short ruler. So which is definitely not the length of the book, because 12 cm is the length of a very short ruler. Okay, then you look at 42 cm. How long is actually 42 cm? Well, okay, how long is 42 cm? So I think I can use a ruler to demonstrate. So how long is 42 cm? So let's try and see. Now your 42 cm is okay, I think this ruler is not a good okay, not a good example. All right, so maybe I should take away the ruler because it's too big, right? And it doesn't really reflect the measurement correctly. All right, so 42 cm. Okay, so not a good idea. Okay, let me just take out the ruler. All right, so 42 cm is actually if you have look at a length of a 30 cm ruler, right? 30 cm ruler, which is actually quite long, a 30 cm ruler. So the 30 cm ruler is actually longer than the length of the book, and you can see that it's 42 cm, which is much longer than a 30 cm ruler, right? So that is wrong already, all right, because 30 cm ruler is actually quite long, and then you have 32 cm, which is even worse, so that's even much longer. So you can see the length has to be 22 cm. Okay, and of course, how about the breadth? If the length is 22 cm, the breadth has to be longer, right? Because you can see the breadth is on the longer side of the book, and the breadth will have to be slightly longer than the length of the book, right? So the length over here must be, all right, has to be slightly longer. So that's how you get 28 cm, which is longer than 22 cm. So answer number 2. All right, so this one you have to learn to estimate. All right, learn to estimate and something to it's not guess, but it's to really recall how a book looks like, and then try to connect the measurements to to connect the measurements to how you think the book is like. Okay, let's go on to the next one. Okay, question 8. Your answer is number 4. Alright, now express 0.8 as a percentage. Now, from decimal to percentage, you can change the decimal into fraction, which is 8 over 10, because there's one decimal place, so there's a 10, a 0, there's one 0. So once you change the decimal to fraction, then how do you change into percentage? You make the denominator into 100. 10 times 10, 8 times 10. So once your denominator is 100, then your answer will be 80%. So always try to make the denominator into 100, and then you get the answer already. Okay, next one, question 9. Now, question 9, your answer is number 1. So the table shows the original price and the sale price. Now, the original price is always 100% without any discount, and the sales price will be lesser than 100%, right? So, can you find the percentage change in the price? Now, what I usually tell my students is to find the percentage change or the percentage discount or increase, percentage increase or decrease. Always try to get your fraction. So your numerator is the change. How big is the change? So from 150 to 120, there is a change of $30. Okay? And then what's the denominator? The denominator is the number that you start from, which is 150. Alright, so can I make the denominator 100? Can, right? You can simplify the fractions and then change the denominator into 100. Or there is also another way you can convert to percentage. You times 100%. And because it's no calculator, so you have to learn to cancel. Right? Divide by 10, divide by 10. And then anything else you can cancel? Yes, I can. 15 divided by 15, which is a big number, and 30 divided by 15, you get 2. Alright, once you cancel already, I will usually, oh, there's a 10 there, right? So I need to circle the 10. So once you have canceled already, you circle, alright, circle those numbers you never cancel, and then you multiply them. So 2 times 10 is 20, and 1 times 1 is 1. So what is the percentage change? 20% change. Alright, so answer number 1. Okay, let's go on to number 10. Okay, number 10, your answer is number 1. So you are tested on your properties of angles. So you read everything, right? A, B, and C, D are straight lines, and then all the different angles are given. So can you find angle BOF? So BOF is over here. So you're asked to find this angle. Okay, now, every time you see straight lines, then you need to know that there's angle on the straight line is 180 degrees. So if you notice carefully, there are a few straight lines, so I can find this angle, right? So what's the angle? You take 180, and you minus 85, and you minus 27. Okay, I'm going to use my calculator so that we can do faster. But of course, in paper 1, you have to work out manually. So 180 minus 85 and minus 27, you will get 68 degrees. So this is your 68 degrees. And then you can find the question mark already. Okay, so first of all, there's a straight line. So angle on the straight line is 180. And then there is another straight line over here. So angle on this straight line is also 180. So what do? You take 180, okay, 180 degrees minus 27 minus 68, and you also minus 32. And you get your question mark. So what do you get? So you will get 53 degrees. So the question mark is 53 degrees. Okay, 7. And your answer is number 2. Okay, so there's a fraction again. So what can we do? We can draw a model, alright, and it's a before and after. We can also use a table method. So Winnie had 3/8 as many dolls as Lindy. Lindy gave half of her dolls to Winnie. So what was the ratio of the Winnie's dolls to Lindy's dolls in the end? Okay, now, so this is a before and after, and the total is unchanged. So I can use the table method. Alright, in schools, most of you may not have seen this method before. Alright, but it doesn't mean that this method is not in use. This method is actually quite common. Alright, it's quite common among a lot of the tutors, a lot of the students, and it's very effective because you cut down the time to draw the model, and you put the ratio into the boxes actually. So for example, Winnie has 3, so that is 3:8. Lindy has 8, 3:8, and I call it units. So total is 11 units. That is their before or at first. Lindy gave half, so you divide by 2. So Lindy must have given 4 units to Winnie. So Winnie takes 4 units, and then how many they have in the end. So Winnie will have 7 unit, and this person Lindy has 4 units, and the total is unchanged. So this is a table method, which is very effective, all right, to show out the problem. And what is the ratio of Winnie's to Lindy's door in the end, which is 7:4. All right, so your answer is number 2. So this is under heuristics as well. All right, so table method is a heuristics, right, beside model drawing. Okay, let's go on to the next one. All right, a sum of money is shared among Ali, Bala, and Kelvin in the ratio 3:4:5. Kelvin received 80 more than Ali. What is the sum of money? So your answer for question 12 is 3. All right, so you write out the ratio because this is a ratio problem. So Ali is to Bala is to Kelvin, and 3:4:5. Does my ratio need to have the total? Well, if you see the sum of money, it means that you must have total already. All right, sometimes there's no total, sometimes you have. It depends on whether the question is telling you to find the total. So total units will be 12 units, and Kelvin received 80 more than Ali. So 5 minus 3, that will be 2 units more, and that will be also $80 more. So your 1 unit is $40. So you find what is the sum of money, which is 12 units. So 40 times 12. And shortcut, right? Try to cut down the working so they can do faster. You take 4 times 12, that will be 48, and put back 1 0. So the sum of money is $480. All right, question number 13. And your answer is number 1. Okay, now the figure shows 20 squares. How many more squares must be shaded so that 40% of the figure is unshaded? Now, usually the percentage makes the problem a little complicated. So what I usually would do is I will change the percentage into fractions. Then it will be easier. So fraction 40 over 100, and simplest form 2/5. So you want 2/5 of the figure to be shaded, or to be unshaded. So what is the denominator? The denominator is the total, right? Total squares. So if you count the squares in the figure, there are total 20, which is not 5. You want to have 5, the total is 5, right? If you look at the denominator, but if you count the square, it is total 20. So can you find the missing number? So 5 times 4 and 2 times 4, you have 8 over 20, which means that you want 8 squares to be unshaded. Alright, so how many squares must you color? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, right? Then you count the unshaded square. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you need to color another 7 more. Alright, 7 more squares. Okay, let's go on to the next one. Now we come to the easy question, which, oh no, not yet, still question 14. Now, question 14, your answer is number 4. And there is a method here, which is to draw the line, okay, the timeline. Now, the table shows the parking charges. The first hour is $2.50, and every additional half hour is $1.20. So Mr. Lim parked his car from 8 a.m. to 11:15 a.m. So how much did he pay? So over here, I will usually draw a line, all right, which is what you learn in school. All right, your timeline, it can be a distance line, can be a mass line, can be any type of line, depending on the question. So you take out the first hour, or before that, let's put down 8 a.m. and until 11:15 a.m. So you take out the first hour, which is until 9 a.m. And how much is the first hour? That will be $2.50. Then every additional half an hour. So it's going to be a bit hard to count, right? From 9 to 11:15, how many half an hour is that? So don't worry, you just get the nearest hour, which is 11 a.m. So from 9 a.m. to 11, there will be 4 half an hours. Okay, 4 half an hours, and how much is that? You take $1.20 and you times 4. So all the working is done on the line. Alright, and that will be $4.80. And then the last 15 minutes is under your part thereof, or consider as every additional half an hour as well. So it's included as well. So which means that is also another $1.20. Alright, then you plus them together. So you add all the money together, So you take $4.80 plus $1.20, $6. $6 plus $2.50, that will be, how much is that? So $2.50 plus $4.80, and then you will get, yeah, you get $8.50. So the total money is $8.50. Okay, so you use a timeline to represent. Okay, let's go to number 15, and this is your before and after again. So Elaine had 40 hair clips, Dora had 64. Elaine gave Dora 24. So what was the new ratio of Elaine to Dora's hair clip? And your answer must be in the simplest form. So the answer for this question is number 1. Alright, so again, if it's a before and after, so what do? I will use a table method, right? Of course I can draw a model, but table method helps to get the answer faster. So table method, and you call before, change, and after. Okay? Alright, now, then you have to label. So you have Elaine, Dora, and total. And Elaine had 40, so you put 40, and Dora had 64. So I will bracket the important numbers. These are the actual numbers. And of course, I can find the total, which is 104. Now, Elaine gave Dora 24. So you have to minus 24, alright? And Dora takes 24. So what's the ratio now? Or what do they have in the end? So you have 40 minus 24, that'll be 16. And then 64 plus 24, that will be 88. And the total is unchanged. So what's the ratio of Elaine to Dora, which is 16 is to 88. And then you get your simplest form. You divide by 4, right? And you get 4. And divide by 4, and you get 22. Then you divide by 2 again. Okay, divide by, okay, let me just, alright, divide by 2, and you get 2. So 4 divided by 2 is 2. Okay, so this is, okay, divide by 4, 22, and then divide by 2, you get 2, and divide by 2, you get 11. So 2 is to 11, which is the simplest form. Okay, now let's go to your question 16, which is the easy questions. So for question 16, your answer is 5 over 6. And how do we get 5 over 6? I think that is a divide. Okay, so you have 2/3 and divide by 4/5. So again, you need to remember how to divide. Keep the first number, change the divide to times, and flip upside down. Alright, then you cancel. Divide by 2 and divide by 2. You get 2. And then you circle those numbers you did not cancel, and you multiply them. So 1 times 5 and 3 times 2. And that's how you get 5 over 6. Alright, next one, question 17. Your answer is 17 over 25. And how do we change the percentage into fraction? You change the percentage into fraction by writing over 100. Writing the percentage out of 100. 68 out of 100. Okay, once you get your fraction already, then you simplify, divide by 4, and divide by 4. And that's how you get 17 out of 25, which is the simplest form. Okay, question 18. Right, question 18, your answer is 4.08. And so this is quite easy. So you have to minus the decimal. And where do you put 6.42? You have to put in this manner. Your decimal point is below the decimal point on top. So then you can write your digits. Right, so you can see the decimal points are all aligned. Right, so it's in like a straight column. And there's a blank space there. So put a 0 in the blank space. And then you can start to subtract, borrow, and you land. Right, and of course over here, alright, you cannot minus, so you borrow and you also lend. Right, so when you borrow, you plus 10. When you lend, you minus 1. Alright, so 10 minus 2 is 8. 4 minus 4 is 0. And 10 minus 6 is 4. Alright, and numbers don't start with 0. Okay, numbers don't start with 0. For decimal, yes, it can start with a 0. But in this answer, it cannot start with a 0 because there's a whole number already. Right, so once there's a whole number, your whole numbers cannot start with 0. So answer will be 4.08. Okay, question 19, and your answer is 6. So find the value, okay? Find the value of 4 divided by 2/3. So 4 divided by 2/3. So again, change the whole number into a fraction. So keep the first fraction, change the divide to times, and flip upside down. And you cancel divide by 2 and divide by 2, right? And then you multiply the numerators, and then you multiply the denominators, and that's how you get your answer 6. Okay, now question 20, your answer is 20. Alright, now over here, it's going to be very hard to find the missing number if you don't simplify the ratio. So 12 divided by 3 and 15 divided by 3. Alright, then once you get the simplest form, then you can fill the missing number. What is to 25? What number is to 25? So 5 times 5 and 4 times 5. And that's how you get 20. So lesson here is to always get the simplest form, alright, before you find any missing numbers. Okay, now let's go to question 21. Okay, answer is 4 cm square. Alright, let me just write over here. Alright, so how do you get 4 cm square? So triangle, you have to know your formula, which is your half times base times height. So what is the base? The base is the horizontal line, okay, horizontal line of the triangle, and the height must be right angle. So if you look for the height, it should be something like this. The height is right angle to the base. Alright, so the two lines must form a right angle. So what is the base? Every side of a square is 2 cm, and the height you can see is made of two sides of a square, so that has to be 4 cm. Alright, so half times 2 times 4. So half times 2 and times 4. Alright, oops, times 4. Okay, there's no cm square. So half times 2 times 4. So 2 times 4 is 8. 8 divided by 2, that will be 4 cm square, which is the area of the triangle. Okay, now let's go down. Okay, question 22. And your answer is... Okay, let me just have a quick look at the answer key. Alright, now the answer is 25 apples. Alright, now how to get 25 apples? Now, over here, this question, you can use ratio. Why? Because there's a word every. So when you see the word every, you can think of ratio. So for every 5 apples that Carl gets, so Carl gets 5, Alan gets 7. Alright, and then what happened? Alan gets 35 apples. So Alan gets 35 apples. And how many apples does Carl get? So you find the missing number. 7 times 5 and 5 times 5. And you get 25 is to 35. Alright, so Carl gets 25 apples. Okay, next one, question 23. Draw the top view. Now, to draw the top view, okay, you need to do one thing first. You need to stand in front. So you always stand in front, alright, and then after that you look down. So to draw the top view, you stand in front and look down. So when you stand in front, you will see two squares on the left side. Okay, something like this. Okay, 2 squares. And then you will see 1 square on the right and 1 square on the right if you look down. So it will look something like this. Okay, so you have 2 squares on the right side. And after you you should be highlighting, or you should be darkening the lines. Okay, darken the lines to show the outline of the view, and then you do some shading, but don't color. Alright, why do shading? Because sometimes your pencil is quite light and it's very hard to see what you are drawing. So you have to do shading for the teacher to be able to see clearly. Okay, let's go on to the next one. Question 24, very common mistake. Now this is a 20% of the flour, which is 20 over 100, which is 1/5, right? To make some cupcakes, and 60% of the remaining flour to bake some cookies. So your 60% is 60 over 100. Alright, so let me just write down so that we don't get confused. 60 over 100, and your simplest form is 3/5. Alright, not 4/5. So that is 3/5 to bake some cookies. So what percentage of the flour was left? Alright, so let's draw out the model again. So Mrs. Amos had a packet of flour, and you cut this rectangle into 5 boxes, right? And she used one box to make some cupcakes. Alright, so you label one box to make some cupcakes, and this is the remainder. And the remainder has how many boxes? 5 boxes, am I correct? But if you look at the remainder, there are only 4 boxes. So you need to drop down the remainder and cut into 5 boxes. And out of the 5 boxes, 3 boxes are used to bake some cookies, and of course the rest are the leftover. So what percentage of the flour was left? Alright, so your model is done already. So same thing, you make the model look all equal. So there are 4 boxes on top, you put 5, 5, 5, and so on. And then below, you put 4 units in every box. And you count the units, the remainder has a total of 20. Right, the remainder has 20, below 20 also. And then the whole model, cut it. Alright, make sure you do the same. So every box on top is 5 units each. So to get your percentage, like what I mentioned, you have to get your fraction first. So what fraction of all the flour? So all the flour is 25 units. So you put the denominator, what fraction of all the flour was left, which is now 8 units already. Okay, 8 units. And then how to change into percentage? You make the denominator 100 times 4. And of course, on top, you also times 4. And that's how you get 32. So once your denominator is 32, once your denominator is 100, then your percentage will be 32%. Alright? And that's how you get the answer just now, 32%. Okay? Alright, now let me just have a quick check. Yes, the answer is correct. Okay, let's go to question 25. Alright, so you can see that for this lesson video, I will not be doing any re-editing. I will not be doing a retake. So you may see some bloopers like what you saw just now. You may see some slight errors, but usually I should be able to find my mistake and then we just redo again. Alright, so so you won't find a perfect lesson video here. Alright, but at the end of the whole video, you should be able to understand. Right, the whole lesson should be quite clear. Alright, now the mean score for 5 games are shown in the table below. So can you find the average score? Now every time you want to find average, you always have to find the total, right? Total. And once you know your total, then you must take the total and divide by how many children. Alright, how many children, how many people, how many whatever. Alright, so what is the total? So you're going to add all the score together. So you have 5 times 10 is 15, then plus 8 plus 17. So the total is 40. And you take the total and you divide by 5 games. And you get the average score for each game, which is 8. So your answer will be 8 for question 25. Okay, let's go to question 26, coming to the end of the paper 1 lesson. Alright, now this question is very, very important. It's very common because, again, many students will make mistakes because of how to find the leftover. Right? How do you find the length of the remaining piece? Now, Jane bought 4/5 meter of ribbon. She cut the ribbon equally into shorter pieces of 1/4 meter each. So what is the length of the remaining piece? And your answer must be a fraction in the simplest form. So everybody will know that we need to take the length of ribbon, which is the whole length at first, and you're going to cut this ribbon into shorter pieces, and every piece is 1/4 meter, every piece. So you want to find how many pieces, you divide, right? Okay, so let's divide. So keep the first number, change the divide to times, and flip the fraction upside down. And then you multiply the numerators and multiply the denominators, and you get 16/5. Now, what is 16/5? And if you change it into mixed number, this is how it looks like. So you will get 3 and 1/5. Right, 3 and 1/5. So how many pieces are there? So she must have cut into 3 pieces. And then what is the length of the remaining piece? And then what happened? You put your answer 1/5 meter, which I believe that many of you have done it, and the answer is wrong. So why wrong? Okay, because how do you get the remaining piece or the leftover? You have to take the total, take the number of pieces, alright, how many pieces are there, alright, and you need to find out how long do you use to cut 3 pieces. So there are 3 pieces, so how long do you use to cut 3 pieces? Every piece is 1/4 meter each, right? Every piece. So how long do you use? You use 3/4 meter. And how do you get 3/4 meter? Change the whole number into a fraction. Alright, so you have 3 times 1 and then 1 times 4. So you use 3/4 meter. Okay, let me just write a bit nicer. Okay, so how long is 3 pieces? That will be 3 times 1/4. So change the whole number into a fraction. So you multiply the numerators and then multiply the denominators. So she used 3/4 meter. Then what is the remaining piece? You have to take the ribbon at first and then minus how long she used to make 3 pieces. Alright, then what do you do next? Make the denominator the same. So 5 times 4 and 4 times 5. Alright, so you have to make the denominator the same before you can plus or minus the fractions. So if you times 4, then on top you also times 4. If you times 5, then on top also times 5. And you get 16 out of 20 minus 15 over 20. And the length of the remaining piece is 1 over 20 meter. And that's supposed to be the answer. Okay? Right, so don't get tricked. Alright, don't get tricked when you divide and you start to look at this. This is not the leftover. You have to take how many pieces times how long is one piece, and then after that you have to minus. Take the ribbon at first and minus how long you use to get the leftover. Okay, let's go to 27. Alright, question 27, your answer should be 216 cm square. Alright, now arrow pointing, the breadth of a rectangle is 2/3 the length, so arrow pointing. Alright, the perimeter is 60 cm, find the area of the rectangle. Now, when there's an area and perimeter question, I will usually draw a diagram. Alright, it's part of heuristics, drawing a diagram. Alright, so the breadth is 2 units and the length is 3. And you add on to your model, not model, add on to your diagram. So by drawing out the diagram, it shows out the problem. So the perimeter is what? Perimeter means you add all the sides of the rectangle. So 3 plus 2 plus 3 plus 2, that will be 10 units. So the perimeter is 10 units, which is also 60 cm. So your 1 unit must be 60 divided by 10. So if your 1 unit is 6 cm, then 3 unit will be 6 times 3. And then 2 unit will be 6 times 2. And then how do you find the area of the rectangle? Then you take length times breadth. And you should get 216 cm square, which is the area of the rectangle. Alright, so you see fractions, you draw your arrow point. Alright, do the arrow pointing. Okay, next one. Question 28. Fractions again, model drawing. So your answer is 6:5. Alright, so how do you draw out this problem? Now, 1/3 of Ray's money, which means that Ray has how many boxes? 3. And one box is the same or equal. So I'm going to draw Ray's rectangle, which is 3 boxes and equal concept. Draw a dotted line to show the equal concept. One box is equal to 2 boxes of Henry's money. So I'm going to draw Henry's money and until the dotted line as well to show the equal concept. So one box of Ray is the same as 2 boxes of Henry's money. And Henry has a total of 5. So you cut another 3 more, right? So Henry has total 5 boxes. Alright, what is the next step? Make the model all look the same. Right? Can you cut it and make them all look equal? Every box cut into 2 units. So what's the ratio of Ray to Henry's money? So Ray has 6 units. Henry has 5. So your answer will be 6:5. Right? Okay, question 29. There's a heuristics over here. Alright, there's a small little method. So how do you find the area of the rectangular paper? So when you fold a corner of a paper, then what will you usually see? You will see a folding line, invisible line, which is over here. Right, you see something like this, right? Invisible line. Now that line is also called the line of symmetry. What do I mean? Now let's look at this diagram on the right side. You fold the corner and there's a folding line which is over here, which is what we saw just now. And that line is the line of symmetry. So where is the half? When you have symmetry, there are 2 identical halves. So where is the half that is given to you? Now the half of the image is over here. this is one half of the image. So can you draw out the other half of the symmetrical image? So how do you draw the other half? It's very easy. You look at this line. Okay, let me use a red color. Okay, let me use. Okay, now this line. How to draw the other symmetrical side? Over here. Right, so dotted line to draw the other symmetrical side. And then this side, where is it? Over here. So you draw out dotted line. And then the longer side will be here. Okay, that's how you unfold it. So by drawing out the symmetrical image. Alright, now the other side, do the same. Alright, so there's a folding line, which is your line of symmetry. So this is one side that's given to you. And can you draw the other missing side? Alright, so let's draw the other missing side. And you can see that this line is over here. Alright, and then this side is over here. And the longer side is over here. So when you unfold it, it looks like a rectangle, which is on your left. Alright, now why must you do this way? Well, this is why. Now, if this side, let me now use a green color. So if this side is 3, right, 3, then this side must be the same, also 3, right? Okay, now if this side is 3, then this side, same. Opposite sides are equal. Over here, same. Over here, also 3. So this is your 3 cm, right? And this side, which is 3 cm, is the same as the red dotted line, which is over here. Alright, so it's a bit squeezy. Alright, you can see that the red dotted line is also symmetrical. So that is your 3 cm. Alright, so can you find the length already? So you have 3, right, 3, right, 3, and then you have 9, and then you have 3. So what's the length of the rectangle? So there will be 3 plus 3, 6, and 6 plus 9. The length of the rectangle is 15. Alright, then how about the breadth of the rectangle? Now, can you see where is the 5 cm? 5 cm is from here until here. That is your 5 cm. Okay, or maybe I should use a blue color. Alright, so 5 cm is from here to here. And you minus away the 3 cm, and you get your 2 cm. Alright, so the breadth of the rectangle is 2 cm. And now can you find the area of the rectangle? So you take 15 and you times 2. And the area of the rectangle is 30 cm square. And so for question 29, the answer is 30. Alright, so there's a little minor method, a little method here, which is symmetric line of symmetry. Alright, when you fold a corner of a paper, there's a folding line, and that folding line is also called the line of symmetry. And so you have to draw out the other half, and once you draw out the other half, then you find the unknown side. What do you mean by find the unknown side? Means you find those numbers, right? How long is the unknown side? Okay, let's go on to the last question. Now, okay, so we finally found the last page. Okay, so what is your part A? Now, your part A, let's look at part A first. Now, a rectangular tank was filled with some water, alright? And a tap was turned on for 60 minutes for more water to flow inside. And the line graph shows the water after 60 minutes. Now, if you look at the line graph, you can see that at the beginning, right, before the tap was turned on, which is 0, right, before the tap was turned on, you can see there's already water inside, which is 400 liters, right? So if you look at the question, what was the amount of water in the tank before the tap was turned on, right? It has to be 400 liters. So the tank was not empty at first. It wasn't. There was already water inside the tank. And then if you look at part B, what was the capacity of the tank? Right, if you look at the line graph, you can see that the water goes in, right? And then it increases, right? The water level increase, and it increases, right? And more water goes in, and then until it comes here, right? It comes here, what happened? Then it stops going up, and then there's a flat line. Flat line means the water level stays the same. So it must have shown that the tank is totally filled, right? The tank has been totally filled. So whatever water that still goes in, then it must have overflowed. So the water level has reached the brim, the top of the tank. So that is the capacity of the tank. So what is the capacity of the tank? Which is the maximum water that can go inside, which is 1,400 liters. So the capacity of the tank is 1,400 liters. Alright, so we are done with the paper 1. Okay, so apologies for some minor bloopers. All right, so but at the end of the lesson, all right, hopefully you have gotten a lot of answers correct. Overall, the paper one, right, this whole paper one is not really a hard paper. It is quite an easy paper. So I'm sure you should have done quite well for this paper one. So I'm going to be doing the paper two as well, right? The paper two, and the paper two will be on more on the methods and the heuristics. And once you know your methods and your heuristics, then you can see that you can score, right? You should be able to score and solve all the problems quite easily if you know your methods. All right, so we come to the end of this paper one lesson. So stay tuned, right? We will be going through some more paper one, right? Some more paper one lessons, and then also some paper two lessons. And at the end of everything, you will find yourself gaining the confidence, all right? Becoming more confident and making lesser mistakes, because as we go through, we are going back to the basic. Right, in the paper one, we will be going back to the basic, and in paper two, we'll be touching on the heuristics and the methods. All right, so see you in the next coming lesson.